Hey guys, this is Anastasia, and this is a craft sharing video for the Samhain giveaway. This is to focus on a craft that will be used as a loose incense, a base for oil, and also part of a candle. It also may find its way into other crafts that I will be putting in the box, so I thought I would share with you kind of what it's made of and how I went about making it. The craft is an herbal blend to work with the dead. You can use it if you work with a death deity. It would be a good offering or connection there. If you do any sort of ancestral work or connection to the dead. But also if you are dealing with death in your mundane life and perhaps struggling with grief, it would be a good comforting element to work with. I used an oil to kind of bind the, I say bind, it really is just to kind of help with the scenting a bit more. I used essential oil, lily of the valley and violet, and both of those really are a great comforting and peace, kind of a peace be with you type of an energy. So definitely good for comfort, definitely good for working through grief, or even shadow work if you're like me and death terrifies you. So so really just a great kind of thing to have in your arsenal all year round. But I usually craft a big batch of it around Samhain, and then I use it throughout the year. So now I'm going to go into how I created this specific batch. I made it last Friday, actually Friday working into Saturday. It was during a waning moon, which I really find helps connect me to workings with the dead. Anytime that I am able to craft in cohesion, that's the wrong phrase. Anytime I can craft along with the moon phases so that they coincide, I try to. There are always those crafts though where it's like, nope, you need to craft this now. It's like, but it's the wrong time. Nope, you're crafting it now, sweetie. Get off your butt, do this. And those just kind of hit you when they hit you. But if I can, I try to craft with the moon cycles. So waning really worked. I also do try to craft with the weekly correspondences. If you want more information on that, aside from Friday and Saturday, because those are two I'm going to go through, sweetie, just go online. You can find all sorts of information. Each day of the week has its own magical correspondence. On Friday, and these are kind of traditional ones, but I have found them to resonate with me, so I work with that. Friday is really kind of what I call a rose quartz energy day. It's about love. It is about the kind of love that is really soft and gentle and unconditional. And that I find completely connects me to especially ancestral work. And I started it kind of late on a Friday, so then it morphed into suddenly it was like 1 a.m. on Saturday. So then I also got to connect to Saturday's energies, which for me have always been about connecting to the dead. Hell has hurt. Sorry, forming sentences is difficult. Hell's sacred day is Saturday. So those are the days that I try to get to the cemetery to honor my grandfathers who have passed, and also kind of connect to the dead in general, as well as just basic upkeep of the cemetery and things like that, because I kind of pick up and do other devotional things for Hell on those days. So yeah, I was able to kind of take that love energy from Friday and morph it into the honoring and a bit more of the sacred things on Saturday. So I crafted the blend, then decided to let it sit and charge for 3 nights. And I let it charge with the Hierophant and the High Priestess card. The Hierophant, the reason why I chose that one is because it really connects to the idea of tradition. It connects to the idea of this is how things are done in the past. For me, those things should still be honored. Those things should still be sacred, and they should be carried with you. For me, that very much connects to working with the dead and working with the ancestors. With that said, I think there can be a bit of a danger in that, because you can get too steeped in tradition and too steeped in the past. It becomes an issue of not letting go of the past or not finding your own way. And that's where the balance comes in with the High Priestess card, because for me, the High Priestess card is all about working with your own intuition, finding your own spiritual path among everything, among everything else, amongst the path of your ancestors, finding your way to walk, seeing what life experiences there are for you to lead you through the mysteries that life presents. You can learn from your ancestors. They can pave your way, but you need to walk that road alone at times as well. So I like the balance that these two cards have. And I believe they were created to correspond with each other, so it works. So yeah, I charged it with those, as well as some various crystals. My skull bead again. And then I also have this lovely feather and lovely crow skull. One of my witchy friends on Facebook sent it to me for Yule, as well as that lovely little hagstone you see in there. Anytime I do any sort of work with the dead, I include those items because they're so special to me. I just love them. So I let them charge in my cauldron for 3 nights. Tonight, he has been falling down every time I've tried doing this video. They've been charging in this cauldron for 3 nights. Actually, tonight is the 3rd night, so I'll let it go tonight, and then tomorrow I will jar it up for the giveaway. Now, what is in this beautiful blend? You can kind of see the blend underneath the crystals and everything. I used a 13-item blend. First, I had 4 items that connected to the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And these are 4 items to kind of serve as an offering to the elements to aid with protection and the transformation process. And that kind of works twofold. I find protection is definitely a thing that you should always use when working with the dead of any kind. I think we've all seen enough horror movies to know that when you're talking with Grandpa, it may not always be Grandpa. So I like having a bit of protection in my pocket. As far as transformation, we all know that when you, those that pass away do go through a transformation. However, I find even when I'm just discussing death, or if I'm contemplating death, let alone if I'm honoring the dead or working with the dead, I have a way of kind of getting lost in it at times. I find that I myself kind of will transform from within. And that is something that does take some getting used to and some working through. I myself am terrified of death, so anytime I'm working with, even just honoring the dead, can be a really painful yet transformative experience for me. So the protection and the transformation items are not only for those that have passed on, but also for those that are still in this physical realm. The items I chose for that: for earth, I chose sage, birch; for air, for fire, I went with wormwood; and for water, elderflower. All of them are protection, and then either cleansing or aiding with transformation. If something cleanses, I find that to be a very transformative thing as well, so it connects with me as both. Then I went and in groups of 3 added elements for remembrance, love, and immortality. So for remembrance, I chose rosemary, lilac, and poppy. Rosemary is the remembrance herb. Even William Shakespeare wrote about it. Lilac for me has always connected to memories. I know some people, it connects to wisdom as well, and some people look at that and say, well, of course it connects to memories because it deals with wisdom. So it deals with that mental clarity, not necessarily memories that you have. But for me, it does connect to that. And I think it speaks to any time you craft. If you have a personal correspondence, maybe it's something no one else in this world agrees with. If you connect to an item in that way, you should use it because it's going to amplify your connection to that craft and make the energy that you put into it 10 times more potent. So that's kind of my personal thought process there. And then poppy, I do just want to comment on, the reason I'm using that is poppy is used for Remembrance Day. It's also one of the only plants, well, I don't know if it's one of the only plants to grow, but it's commented on in a poem, I believe in Flanders Fields it's called. They commented on how it was a plant that would grow in barren battlefields, and I think that's such a beautiful concept, especially when dealing with death, because it is such a destructive force of nature, but from it such beauty can come about. So it definitely is something I thought that spoke beautifully with this. Then for immortality, we have apples, which is also the food of the dead, so I thought it was a nice little offering as well. Yew wood, the yew tree is seen as a guardian for the underworld and deals with immortality. And then coriander. Then for love, I went with rose, violet, and marjoram. Rose I also like because it is a beautiful, we always connect it to love and beauty and maybe some peace, but it also is a flower for courage, and I like that very much. And violet is great for inspiration as well, but it also is something that is used in funerary rites, especially, I'm sorry to say, for children. So I do usually try to include violet, just as a personal thing for me. So that is what is in there, and then I call it binding, but it's not really binding because it's loose incense or a loose herbal blend. But I bound it with 2 different essential oils, Lily of the Valley and violet. So both of those deal with peace and tranquility, and again, it just kind of gives you that calming effect. I think it's very important when we're working with the ancestors to have that bit of calm and tranquility about ourselves and to work within. So that is what it will look like. And I don't know if I have any charcoal left. Not really. Sorry. That went a little wonky. I have burnt it a little bit just to make sure it was a good scent. And it burns a little bit. I really wish I had some charcoal left so I could show you. Oh, I might have found some charcoal. There we go. Nope, not enough for it to make a difference. Let's see, maybe now I can. It's not burning as much. It burns a little quick. It definitely gives a decent amount of smoke when it's burning, because right now my charcoal's pretty much spent. But yeah, so sorry about the ending being kind of a cluster. I wanted to burn a little to show you how it would burn for you, but I apparently didn't plan that thoroughly. But that is what this blend is about. I'm going to let it charge for the rest of the night tonight and jar it up tomorrow, and that will be at least 3 of the items in the box will be working with that. So I hope you liked the video. I hope it wasn't too much. And thank you for watching. Blessed be.